Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm coming in live and clear. Alright, let's get some Star Wars on. Now, it's been a while since I played Star Wars. This game can kind of bump up and down in terms of good frames and screen tearing, so this is really just a test. It usually is. Forgive me if it goes down and up, screen kind of blacks out and whatnot. Don't worry about it. We'll probably be fine. Just fasten yourself in and make sure you're nice and comfortable. Because this might be a bumpy ride. I don't know, we'll see. So far, Age of Rebellion in Supremacy mode has brought a lot of players back to Star Wars. This is a really good time to enjoy probably your newer graphics cards, your newer hardware, CPUs, your ultimate gaming experience box, and jump into some Star Wars. It's really just unfortunate the game isn't cross-platform yet. But soon we'll be there. Soon we will all be there. Gloriously be there. Alright, enough said. Okay, oh, Hoth, eh? Oh no! As I was saying all that good stuff about players. If it doesn't work, try again. I could have just actually caught the server when it just started. Or we spin the wheel. Let's see what happens. In terms of a build up a game, like and how it runs with a PC, I'd say Star Wars is probably one of the most finicky. Best next behind Battlefield 5 for my PC. I'm not exactly running a supreme gaming PC, but it was good when I built it about 4 years ago. 16 gigs of RAM, 6 gigabyte video card, nice processor, i7, all that stuff, decent motherboard. I'm sure these details could matter in the end, but yeah, anyway, what I find is Star Wars, when it loads into my PC, it generally takes so much power draw, so much of everything that you just gotta let it load and let it load once. And then it starts to smooth out, so. You know, for an old game, perhaps there's something to do with coding, something to do with some back-end stuff that just, you know, I don't know. Not every PC is going to be the same. Not every PC is going to respond to the software the same. There's a lot of variances in the hardware, in the way that it was coded, the way it was designed. So I can understand many gamers in this world, you know, they pick up a console controller and that's just all they really need to know. And there you go, right? And you could include mouse, keyboard with all that. I PC game because it's the absolute fullest way to get the experience out of practically every game or every kind of like VR setup and whatnot, right? Like, it's for the platform of which is difficult to learn, but once you start to get the fundamentals, it can turn into everything. It's more than a video game system, that's for sure. So that's why I like playing PC, but I absolutely enjoy console, and the quality of the games that they make are really good, optimized even. Here we go. Out.
We couldn't defend the target. Ship's going down. Evacuate!
Wow, that was quick. It is what it is. You jump in. Basically, I jumped into the game at any particular point. It would just happen to be near the end. So that's how it works with most servers. If there aren't too many games available, they'll just roll you in anything. Most of the time, you jump into a game just before it starts. However, it's pretty much any time. So just bear in mind. I'm speaking to the casual gamer here, the person who might not have ever played Star Wars, who just wanted to check out a video on maybe YouTube or Twitch, D-Live or what have you, and see what this game was about. I'm happy to have you. This is my live stream. And if you've got any comments or suggestions, feel free to shoot me in the comment box.
Home sweet home, boys. And it's up to us to keep it that way. All right. Time to show those clankers Camino's not big on uninvited guests. Rally up, troops. One guess who gets to kick those metal screwheads back into orbit. Move on the objective. Standard development, boys. Secure those positions and get ready to board that ship. Command post Besh is now under our control. Our forces have taken command post Crush. Taking command post desk.
Well, that was unexpected. Sorry about that.
Darth Maul is here. Count Dooku has entered the battle.
Equally just as unexpected. I bounced off the wall and went backwards. That E one, the E button jump pack, has no steering really besides just going forward. So there you go.
Fantastic work out there. Keep it up. Darth Maul is here. Stay focused. Our forces at command post Ask have fallen. Here's the objective! Capture of command post Ask underway. Attack the objective! Darth Maul has arrived. Be careful, brothers. Our forces have lost control of command post Auric. Master Kenobi has joined us. Hit the objective! We've captured command post Auric. Maulers here.
Ah, man. Not good. That's alright, though. I think I'm gonna try sniper this time.
We're close to dominating this sector. Don't let up now. Right, pushing them back. That's the last of them. Now hop to it. I'm sending a ride to shuttle you up to the Dreadnought. Excellent. The LA-AT is touching down now. Hotel it over there. Hop on the transport. Not much time left to board the transport. Go, go! Done here. It's time to go.
Keep your guard up.
I knew you had it in you. Next stop, mayhem and destruction on the Dreadnought. Second your boots hit the deck, you need to track down those targets and hit them with everything you've
Just wanted to say hello to a couple of viewers that are catching this right now. We are playing, I don't know, I think this is, was it Galactic Conquest or whatever mode? Whatever. Hey, I'm happy that you're actually stopping by to watch the game, though. Appreciate it.
This ship's a goner as soon as we've completed our objective, boys. Let's do it! Darth Maul's arrived. Be careful, brothers. Our forces are taking control of the objective. We've started to capture the objective. Hold up.
Should be off babysitting Boba Fett or something.
got a little bit too cocky with that last one. You know, you gotta watch out with the destroyer, the super battle droids. Those guys are actually pretty tough. And they come pretty well armed.
We're capturing the objective. Our forces have taken control of the objective. Well done. Get through the blast door and prepare for the next phase. This is it, brothers. The final objective. Destroy it and we'll bring the ship down. Kenobi is here to support us.
Just fight out there.
I've got you!
There is no chaos. There is
Covering fire, go! General Grievous is here.
Me likey Wookie. This is gonna be fun.
Taking down the target. Watch those wrist rockets! Only a few seconds.
Here we go.
Damn. That was a thermal detonator, I take it? Yikes. Ouch. Alright. The plan is we gotta break in the back there and blow up those 3 destroy markers there. They're 3 power generators that have quite a bit of HP, so they're gonna require a team effort and some trickiness on our part. You can't exactly have your enemy all barricaded at the doors. You gotta break through somehow. So the objective of the game is some kind of capture the flag, or like reverse capture the flag. You're not capturing, you're destroying the flag.
Closing range. Starting kill sweep. Grenade deployed. Almost there. Last push. Seems the arch-clanker Grievous has joined the battle. Charge!
I do wonder how many players are playing on consoles, PlayStation and Xbox, and perhaps GameCube, or I don't even know anymore. Nintendo Wii 2 or Wii U, I have no idea. But Xbox and PlayStation, I'm sure they've got their own large core base of players. The PC probably suffers from the least amount because there's just frankly so much variety. Oh, here we go. We're loading up. It's slowly getting there. Kind of debating on whether, yeah, I think I want to play a different kind of game mode anyway. So, just a quick little boot to the menu. Those guys will be aight. Let's try this again, Age of Rebellion. I have a lot of fun with these new it's the same maps, really, except the new one, which is largely a ground-based island/tropical environment. Lots of fun. It's just something new, another place to run around, get some kills on, get some frags. So, but you get Hoth, you get the classics. Too bad it's not like the progression kind of battle mode, though, where you can go actually inside the Hoth bunker. For now, we're just fighting on the outside of it. And other places like that. There's Yavin 4 and a few others. So, it's a cool game mode. I think normally you get the most players in here.
Is lost.
Get out.
We'll defeat the Imperials by taking and holding all marked positions.
We're capturing Command Post Orak.
Get out.
ISB agents are dope.
Capture and defend the command posts.
We've lost position Ask.
Calling it.
We're capturing Command Post Bash. We're getting Jedi support. Luke Skywalker is here.
That's what I get for being a little too greedy. I knew there was a bunch of them behind that door.
Command Post Bash is ours.
Nade out.
Man post bash.
We've captured Bash. Vader has joined the Imperials. Be cautious.
Any surprises?
We're securing S.
Command post Ask has been secured.
Careful where you shoot. What to do? You look like a...
Seen me worse. They weren't expecting us.
Man post bash has been captured.
Vader, man. That's what you get.
Crash has been captured.
Bring this empire down! Auto goes ready.
Secure those positions.
For the Rebel Alliance!
Shield up!
Grenade, get down! We got a turret ready.
Seppies are stepping
I mean, being that they were on the defensive, I suppose they had the advantage. It's not always so clear-cut as to how the tickets exactly work and why it can just be like such a landslide for one team sometimes. Literally like 100% to 0. I don't know. I just basically play this game like every other Battlefield game. I can't exactly tell you how the ticket system works.
We're securing command post crash. Crash has been secured.
Commander Skywalker is here to aid us.
We're about to secure command post Dorn. Enemy leader taking point!
We can't sustain our presence here on the Death Star any longer. Move to evacuate. We'll find some other way to take on this battle station.
And there we go. GG. Let's see what's in for another round. I appreciate a couple of guests on watching me right now. Really appreciate you guys. Feel free to shoot into the comment box any suggestions or just what-ups, shout-outs, whatever you got, man. Let them fly. It's been a bit of a wild ride trying to get this game stable too. I've had to play with all kinds of settings. I find VSync off pretty much just solves them all. And yeah, there's a little bit of screen tearing here and there, but that you can do things as well to change that. And pretty much haven't looked back. This game's, after the first initial load in, it's quite seamless and looks absolutely fantastic for space battles, land battles, and everything combined. I'd say Star Wars has pretty much the grandest scale in terms of idea. Like Battlefield still might be bigger and tactically larger. It's that Star Wars has space battles and carriers and things like that that are involved. And even if you can't pilot them, that's still pretty neat, isn't it? Here we go. I think this is Hoth. Yeah. All right, let's see if it fills up.
the rebel base on Hoth was easily discovered by our probes. We have them cornered, and now they will be destroyed. Secure all marked positions and hold them until the rebels have been driven off.
Heads up! Grenade out!
Crash is under attack by the rebels.
Frisian is pushing his fabled luck by coming here. Time to end him.
Auric is ours.
Lord Vader is here. Redouble your efforts.
Misjudge us, Eugene.
Right on target. Heavy damage detected.
You're under attack. The Emperor is now personally overseeing the battle. Lord Vader.
An agent has been sent to assist our forces.
Right on time.
Probably my favorite. Oh, look, it's KFC Seed Man. Didn't I just duel you in a starfighter battle? Cool. But yeah, probably my favorite map out of the whole Star Wars Rebellion rotation right there. It's really too bad. It really is, though, that you can't go inside the base like you could in the other game modes, because that is where Hoth is. That's fun. That's the movie, the entryway, the barraging in, Vader close quarters. So that map's missing that. I don't know. I have a feeling that because somebody added a certain new map in Star Wars, that perhaps, minor changes and adjustments could be made. We'll all see and stay tuned, right? That's the funny thing about it all. It's always really a work in progress. But many gamers in our current generation, they require instant gratification, instant everything. If I don't get everything at once, that's it. You've broken my trust. And I gotta admit, as a young lad growing up and being a video gamer, a PC gamer. Oh, hello, cat. Hello. I've been burned once or twice or maybe 20 times buying different game titles, expecting the map to be the actual territory. And even with a car or an appliance, anything really, anything you can think of in life, it's not always you get what you pay for. It's never going to be as it is, and there's always something that's going to change with it or about it or what have you, right? It's just life. So anyway, when it comes to games, it only gets better in my opinion. the addendums, the changes, it only gets more diverse, more uniformed, in a sense, like all the rules hammered out. After all, it's just a game, right? But the time we spend in the game is what I think that they're interested in, right? Liking to know the players' interests and wants in what they have, what they made, and how they can make them better in the future. So it's always like it's a very perennial kind of relationship that goes on between gamer and developer, whether neither party wants to admit it. Oh, this is the new map, Scarif. So check it out, live on Epoch Ransom
They
Games.
aren't to be wiped out. This research installation must be protected at all cost. Advance and capture all key positions, then hold them until the rebel assault has faltered.
Kind of neat though. It has a Battlefield 5 vibe to it. I like this map. It's not exactly like some of the other maps in this game are like nutty from oh, the cat. Oops. It's alright, kitty. That's just a computer facing. As I was saying before that happened, was like some maps are so very detailed, all handcrafted. Like tunnel works inside mountains that come out to like escarpments and that you can fight on where their base is and that kind of stuff. Like really just crazy different. Kashyyyk is pretty crazy as a map. It's a lot of fun. There's lots in the drone wars era that are really cool to play on. So it's more map rotation. Like you're not going to get always the maps you enjoy, and that's just that, right? I suppose if there was a server browser, you might be able to find something a bit more to your taste. But there isn't. Good Lord. I don't know why there isn't. But, hey, you know. I mean, yeah. Battlefield 5 is pretty much done with just, you know, as is, right? What could possibly be missing from a World War II environment? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not bitter. I promise. It's not exactly done, but I suppose it's always just a wait and see. Yay! Huh? Well, I suppose as what I said earlier was true, though, right? Like, it only does get better. Even though the product might not feel completely complete, it does get better, as more will be added upon later and diversified upon. And quite frankly, the whole World War II genre, I mean, as YouTube can inform you quite easily, has a plethora of great modern style games that also diversify the player's experience, like Postscriptum. Postscriptum looks very awesome in terms of realism, probably functionality, scale. Pardon me. It looks a lot more sophisticated than most World War II games, though. Like, it actually requires some team effort, and there's a lot of realism factors. The tank battles in Postscriptum look amazing.
We're losing S to the rebels.
Rocket Trooper's got to be like absolute most funnest class to play besides a hero. And even then, I mean, the heroes don't get what this guy gets. You can do a lot of crazy things with Rocket Trooper. Is that Luke? Yes, it is. Ooh, close call.
Command post S is fallen.
Oh, yeah. So it's a very cool map, though, right? Like Lots of places to hide, lots of close combat in the bushes and stuff, very similar to Battlefield 5, but in a Star Wars environment, which makes it oddly, like, familiar and enjoyable, if you ask me. It's a cool map. Very just simple in design, but it has a lot of tactical variation. It isn't just exactly defend at this door here, stop enemy from taking base. You know, something really Ice World-ish like that, if anyone remembers my era of gaming, where Ice World was something that you could spend endless hours basically practicing Counter-Strike skills on, and it was like a battling in a tuna can. It was, well, it is what it is.
Position Dorn is under attack.
No, I mean, at this point, I've played so many first-person shooters that it has to be, there has to be a kind of an enriching feeling to it, or it's just quite simply too basic. And you know, I do like to learn. I like to learn new things. And I mean, basically, once I've exploited the hell out of a certain game, I can't even play it again. It's just becomes so just mundane. So I mean, I guess that makes me kind of a dour person somewhat, huh? Well, I mean, there's actually so much that can be said about mods. And mods can make an entirely old game into new. It's the truth. Like, you can, even if it is still the basic game, the fundamentals can be so reversed even that it offers just new beauty to old video games, and that's always something that I've very thoroughly enjoyed. That's why you'll see me probably pop in a little bit of old games. Like, I wouldn't say that Elder Scrolls is my oldest, rather that maybe Command and Conquer Generals or something along those lines might be my absolute oldest.
Priority target. Rebel commander landing.
Like, I've got some pretty old school games that, I mean, the best part about it is that you can go online and practically find any community for any game that's found some kind of workaround or crack or whatever. I don't mess with the cracks and EXE hacks and stuff like that, ISOs and whatnot. That's been a long time since then. I go legit because obviously you get the mainstream online support of what a game provides, including a return policy on something, at least, in the era where you actually own nothing, right? So, I mean, you gotta think about it, at least you've got a kind of a contract. In fact, most music in this world, if it's not sold by now on this premise, it should be. But that's just my humble opinion. In that, as soon as you buy a disc, right, you go to any place where you get the media, you go to any website, you get the media, you own a printed copy of that song, and you can get it anywhere that they sell songs. It's just something that you can just, here sir, I own this. And then they like inscribe it to you on a kind of a digital media that's convenient for your choice. I mean, that it could be so simple. If only the world was mine. Well, I'm just saying, like, it has probably more to do with the guy who made CDs and not wanting that ever to happen for his CD empire, lest it crumble into the ground. You can start to see how the world of media and digital entertainment is, well, you know. Nonetheless, when it comes to video games, I mean, yeah, you can mess with that cracked EXE stuff, right? Like I was saying. However, the mods which are provided, they're pretty much available to both. You can get any kind of cracked version and just play it yourself. Not that I suggest that at all. You could hypothetically mod it as well and play the game as a mod to test out, perhaps, because I bet you that it won't be very stable. But to test out, perhaps benchmark how your computer is going to run with certain games. Even, well, yeah, I mean, it all depends. It all depends what your computer is also built for, too. Now, this computer, like I said, it's a little bit older. It's a little bit older, about 5 years old. Bought it for playing War Thunder, actually. And I got a lot of good use out of the previous video cards, which are still around here somewhere. I want to fly that thing.
The rebels are trying to secure already.
Is that just an interceptor without the bottom? I don't know. Or is that part of the new movie, which I haven't seen? Nah, whatever. I like the new sand trooper skin. It's very neat, very cool. Unique too. It has a, like the sergeant looks awesome.
The bounty hunter, Boba Fett, has joined us.
trying to secure position doors.
Heavy trooper? Yep. I see him. Oh boy. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. Oh, speaking of cookies.
Victory will be ours momentarily.
I don't think it's very hot. You know what I mean?
We now have support.
Like, yeah, it looks like you can still wear a snow trooper uniform and still function somewhat.
Position Auric is under attack.
Breathing in that thing, that huge helmet would be awful if you didn't have kind of a rebreather.
Command post Auric is fallen.
Huh? Oh boy. Big fan of that dart gun, by the way. That dart gun can motivate your allies to go take some initiative, poke out enemy snipers and whatnot behind tree lines, all kinds of neat stuff. Direct your friendly fire towards enemy units. And it's complete. It can go long distance, right? A lot of fun. And I do like to play around with the certain settings and cards, the star cards. Trying different combinations as much as I can. I've usually been killed by so many different types of weapons that some notably stand out, like the ion grenade or the ion missile. That thing's pretty deadly. It has a pretty sweet lock-on effect. Wow, you see, so like I said, the tickets in this game, it's probably not as detailed as Battlefield, you know what I mean? Or rather, the clock probably runs down a little bit too fast because they want to keep getting players into different maps, different games, recycling player bases. You know, because it's just how they do their game, right? It's more a design issue, not a flaw at all. So that being said, it's like, yeah, in Battlefield, the maps, the games can feel 3 times as long as Star Wars, and yet the Star Wars maps, I gotta say that when you play Galactic Assault, the maps can keep going back and forth and back and forth, where you're going back between the ship and the ground, and oh god, it can be like an hour. It can be so long if you got 2 good teams, and you don't want to give up because the points are great, right? But so that's in this game right here. When you get into an endurance mode like that, it's nutty crazy. It's just crazy. GG's. No ship stage is effing rigged. Well, possibly. Right? Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of snipers. But now, some of the maps, like Kashyyyk, that's really cool, where you're going back between the starship and the ground. There's so much variety in between, and like if you've got 2 good teams, you don't want to let each other go. It's like you guys are really tactical and fun and counterbalancing each other. Other times, it's just like pavement. It's like laying pavement either direction. Either you're getting absolutely steamrolled on, or you're steamrolling them, and it's just like you're there for the ride. So, best part about this game too, there's probably about 12 different game modes, maybe more. Like, it's so diverse. Heroes versus heroes. You can do Ewok hunt, data steal, all kinds of weird stuff. Battlefield's probably got about 5 or 6. I think Battlefield 5 even less. Expected. It's kind of expected. The way I see it is that a lot of newer games, like the thresholds that the new games push, are not exactly the thresholds that I value, and I understand that because I can play a lot of older games where their levels of intensity, like their levels of invested interest, like how deep do you want to go into the strategies to like plan everything and coordinate everything, like Heroes and Generals, for example. If you wanted to, you could command a whole army as a general, and you could send them out on various battles and assign resources and stuff with other players if that's the game that you want to play. So it's actually extremely deep. It goes right to the top. Heroes in Generals being like, yeah, graphically speaking, it's nowhere compared Battlefield, I suppose. Nowhere compared Star Wars. But tactically and depth-wise, it goes right to the. Now that is an absolute World War II game, in my opinion. It has everything: planes, tanks, trucks, jeeps, snipers, medic guys, all that stuff. Take base, resources, and it's all right there. It's just even just pen and paper. So that kind of mindset is rare in the shooter environment. It's becoming rare for what's popular, because what's becoming popular is game publishers and developers that put way more into engine processing, I suppose, way more into graphics processing, shaders, things that also propel the design and the market of certain gaming technologies, and then they just put games on top of it as benchmarks. So, that being said, games are going to become more and more probably less, and more graphically amazing, appealing, probably look excellent in 4K resolutions seamlessly across all platforms eventually, at the expense of a deep and meaningful even gaming experience. Now, I say that as genuinely as possible, because a meaningful gaming experience is something that most people don't even understand. They're like, it's just a video game, guy. A meaningful gaming experience is something that is like magic, really. It just really enthralls you. It can be so seamless, you know what I mean? Like, your actions, your input, the way it looks, you are more than just take it in. But like, the appeal of it is working, and it depends entirely on like its way to, like, a game's ability to work best with your sound card, with your graphics, just that look, that first look of like turning Oblivion on or playing Skyrim, a game that's so like, wow, it's just so like captures your imagination is what I'm really getting at. Like, just now, Star Citizen, you know, you could look at it like, okay, in terms of games, Star Citizen is that game. Unfortunately, that's more just the paper side of it, if you know what I mean. You gotta jump in, you gotta find a game that appeals to you, and you gotta give them everything you got, because, you know, they could be that game, right? And all they need is just the publishers, the developers, all they need is just the right kind of player base, somebody pushing the envelope. War Thunder, in my opinion, is a really good game like that. They tried so many different things in the past that it's only paying dividends now in the future. Unfortunately, yeah, there's marketplace stuff. I'm sure that it's going to go turn into a big PUBG game soon enough, right? PUBG Planes, which is ridiculous, but there you go. But I mean, nonetheless, at least they're trying different things, you know, that they continually give. Gaijin, I suppose, as a company, gives constant love to its game base on some level, right? And I gotta admit, as an EA fan, I've probably never had the worst. I mean, this is just like common knowledge to most PC gamers right now, but EA is just the absolute pits when it comes to, I suppose, their marketing, the way they deal with the fan base, the player base. Like, sure, there's definitely competition when it comes to treating them badly and poorly, but you would expect the top-notch publisher to just be like, just so smooth line, something similar to Sony. EA Games effectively just takes the best games and then locks them in a vault, barely gives them any love and support. And even as I say that, you know, they give it Star Wars. This game I'm playing right now, they gave it a new map and new skins and stuff. But I mean, for so long, it was just like laying dormant, and it was such a gem. So, I'm sorry, guys. It's gonna take more than just a map. In my humble opinion, of course. After all, this is Epoch Rants of Games. I gotta live up to that reputation. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There you go. Oh. Beautiful, huh? Double suns in the background? Wow. Oh, hello. He's in the interceptor. Oh, he's down. Interceptors are awfully agile. Wow, the X-Wings are more, like, if you hit anything or even come close to most things, you're gonna die. So, that being said, the X-Wing is super bulky. Yeah, whereas the TIE Fighters are really brittle, it seems like. You know what I mean? Like, at least I got a little bit extra. Ow. It's a lot of fun. They probably hate me down there, I know. I remember first playing this game and I was getting annihilated by really good pilots. I'm just like, that's so cool. It was awful though. I mean, these things are very overpowered. The fact that they heal so quick just makes them even more powerful. It's like one of those, you know, a lot of the shooter games that I used to play when I was younger, they didn't really have these kinds of assists, like these health regeneration stuff. It was just, once you're dead, you're dead. It was like, better luck next round, you know, oh, there you go. So, there's a lot of things that are part of the modern gaming generation, like the auto health regens, mini-map assists, radar. Like, that's part of the GoldenEye era, like, hold my hand stuff while I game. I mean, there were other games that were way more hardcore than that, and they have lots of players still playing them. I strongly, highly suggest rather that players play both of the, like, recognize a game for what it is, see it as like a way to challenge yourself, experience different things with players, like learn something, you know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like learning something, but in a gaming environment, if you look at it like that. So you treat it like it's learning something, and then target games that demand more utility. I'm not saying play like a World of Warcraft game, which, as if anyone doesn't know, is a very highly time-intensive, massively multiplayer game, which has practically everything you could think of to be able to do, achieve, scale, which you can't even really fathom unless you play it, right? So that exists, right? But if you'd like to find something that's a little bit more, perhaps mundane, something that you could just pick up, let down, go. You know, shooters are good for that. What am I even getting? How do you compare WoW to any other game? But I'd even say like a game like Warframe, which I played for a while there back in the past. It's more like Destiny. So first-person, third-person shooter action elements with a more hardcore RPG element later. That kind of game, and the fact that it's long-term, massively multiplayer, increases, in my opinion, a fun factor like substantially in this modern era of video gaming that we find ourselves in, where you're always going to find some new action, some new things, some new entertainment, some new kind of game mode, some new kind of excitement available in a game like Warframe, and WoW, quite frankly. But in many other games you do not. And I think it's largely due to the amount of players that you're going to find in such games, right? Smarter players even. More involved players. So, you know, you choose your destiny when it comes to these kinds of things. You don't want to be stuck playing Call of Duty the entire time, which is a great game, don't get me wrong. If it would work for me, I keep getting DirectX crashes from that game, and it's really just a lot more frustrating than it seems. But when it does work, it's fun. The PUBG element is a bit new to me, but I can see the appeal of it to survive or die. And when you do it with a squad, it only just makes it better. Me, personally, I suppose I'm traditionally more of a Battlefield kind of player. Something of this environment is familiar to me, where it's just shoot 'em up, blast them, really low, doesn't require much intensity to just get going. And there's just as much a place in this game for the grunt using the shotgun who doesn't really know much about flags. If he's shooting the enemy and distracting them, he's playing the game just right as far as I'm concerned. Whereas there's players that I am, like me, I suppose, who are a lot more involved flying planes and whatnot, shooting the ground targets. And you know, it can seem also mundane in this game. It's because I've played it quite a bit and enough to realize it's quite simple. It's really simple. It was just an effort of button mapping, changing some button keys around, and then like flying became universal. It's something that I'm already attuned with in many other games. And it's this game is so beautiful, in fact, that like when you master it, you want to be able to accentuate the details of this game while you're doing the like piloting like that, doing cool stuff, being the Jedi. And I found that switching your field of view in this game is the way to do it. You can increase your performance substantially by lowering your field of view, essentially not having as much on the screen, and your frame rates even. When you're playing a Jedi, this makes it really cool as it feels all very close and up right next to your opponent as you're saber dueling them. So things like that, right? Like there's ways that I tried to get this game to at least be stable 60 frames. No. Nuh-uh, fam. Try not, because this game's ability to power draw from my PC and basically suck all the juices out from the CPU is like, it's pretty amazing how beautiful this game can look, and how yeah, it's not exactly a small game by any measure. So I mean, I'm looking for, I basically got no VSync. Just, I would love to have like a G-Sync or an NVYNC or what have you, some kind of way that it just seamlessly links it up so that I don't get any screen tearing on the back. But I mean, it's an RTX card, GTX 2070. I mean, it's a 6 gigabyte card. You'd think that it would be able to really leg it. I find that not every game is made the same though. Like some game software requires so much to even just process the shadows and the ambient occlusion, which is quite shocking, because like to try and scale it, I'm glad that I got two of you still here listening, by the way, that you're listening to me rant away. I appreciate that. But anyway, as I was saying, like, it can be absolutely shocking to realize how some game developers can just make something that's such a masterpiece. The way that the game looks, feels, like this game, the way that this game, Star Wars, looks, is probably the best Star Wars I've ever seen in my life. You can change it so the shadows look a lot crisper and all that stuff, but that's okay. I've got it down to a kind of a low setting for good frame rate. This game can be so beautiful, right? And that is like a testament to the combination of the people who designed it, the developers, even the marketers, to produce something that actually, you know, they came through, right? And that's very difficult in the game world because it's ultimately out of their hands. So Star Wars, in a lot of respects, is an absolute success. Sure, it's not exactly a very like, you don't climb over terrain and stuff. It's not very thought out like Battlefield 5, say. But then you can play some games that are just so fundamentally backward in even how just they process their shadows or like their memory. You can, like a game perhaps more like Empire Total War, kind of goes back in time. I realize that's 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
Those troublesome rebels have eluded us long enough. We will eradicate them here at Yavin 4.
But that game had nothing but just absolute problems. There's no amount of modding in the world that can truly fix that game. It's just the way that it was designed was so poor that everything that was built on top of it was also in poor fashion. It started, it's like a ship. And how ironic that Empire Total War is all about Navy combat, really, and Imperial conquest. But it's very much like a ship. How could the ship be much more streamlined and sophisticated if the hull is just made out of like balsa wood? Or something, I suppose, inadequate at any rate, right? What was that? So... oh. It's already quite a few points. Alright. Like, those are two pretty wild examples, I guess. They have nothing to do with each other, and they're not even from the same timeline. But that a game company, like, we live in the era of new games producing probably fantastic imaginatory worlds and environments that are so lackluster, probably in, I wouldn't say in the final end, but rather in the delivery aspect of it, because they might just straight up give you a bunch of other cool features and just not come through with what they promised. But rather that there's a trend, it appears, where games are going to require way more of your imagination than ever before. Than literally ever before, because there's going to be so little involved, and in fact there's actually going to be so much graphical, like, demanding, like a game that would require perhaps even 8 gigabytes of video memory just to run. It could be so immersively processing and generating like a seamless 3D environment that you could panoramically see at all times in like a hard locked VR kind of mode. I mean, I'm just throwing these things out there. I don't know anything about game design. I just love to play them. But that the game could be so fundamentally like what's it called? Market changing, you know? Like it's gonna change the very landscape of video gaming. And the first game that comes out on it could just be a piece of crap. Could be an absolute piece of crap. This happens quite a bit, so you know. If anything, gamers should recognize that they have a lot of power in the way they buy games, and they could very well just as easily go buy old games that haven't, you know, probably been out a couple of years or whatever, not even all that old. Show them a concentrated amount of love and effort and appeal for the expansions and the work they do, even indie games, and do their research. Find out which games are really actually the ones that are said to, hey, this is actually changing the game market, and which games are actually changing the face of gaming and the market perhaps altogether. I know this requires a bit more like actual brain power than most gamers are willing to even consider for games. But that, like, hey, I've played enough games and I'm a mature enough man. Well, yeah, sure, I mean, age-wise, right? Okay. To say that I've had my fair share of knowing what I like and what I don't in terms of gaming. Like, I know when I feel that I've been cheated at a game. And I know when, you know, they're just leading you on with a carrot. Because what else are you going to do, right? You know, sure, there's lots of things to do, but what else are you going to do when it comes to playing my game, right? Are you just going to tough it out and take it? Are you going to play a different game mode? You know, just because I might not like some things about Battlefield 5 doesn't mean I hate the game, not at all. I enjoy games for a lot of different reasons. And primarily in a multiplayer environment, I enjoy the game because I'm playing with you guys. That is always something to be said about that. The dynamic of playing online. I know I'm glitching on all the terrain and stuff, but this walk, the chicken walker, really is just, it's just too OP, man. I can't get out. Like, it's unfortunate I'm knocking down trees and stuff, because that would just make the game really cool. Getting hung up on trees. Or what about the traps from the movie, right? Like, nothing's ever quite done. And to say that a game is even done is like kind of a slap in the face as to what games really are. Like they're a timeless entertainment value. And like when they say that, you know, Battlefield's not getting any new patches, they're not getting any new patches, didn't they also lie and say that you're also getting a June patch? Like that. But then we're not getting any patches after that. So players ask themselves, like, well, why doublespeak then? I tell you, it has probably way more to do with the marketing plans and ploys of a large company known as EA, with a history. Let's just say that. Oh, finally. And I wouldn't be shocked if they just added more content later anyway. Strategically timed, of course, so that perhaps a new kind of EA title, a larger one comes out, and people settle on perhaps a new Dragon Age or a new Mass Effect even, or something crazy and wild like that. But then, oh look, Battlefield 5 new expansion comes out, right? Like, strategically timed and placed, all for mass market effect. It's just as much a game as to get something that you like at the price that you can afford and would pay, as to what you actually want and how much you are willing to pay right now for it. Because the marketer knows that having you completely satisfied, right, isn't exactly his job. They would rather probably keep you on the dole and quite frankly even just lie to you. Lie to you. I mean, that's not a nice thing to say about anybody, right? Like, why would a marketer lie to you, lie to a bunch of gamers? They would just take their money and just go elsewhere with it, right? Oh, well, this guy lied to me. They do it because they know that they've got your imagination. The investment of your imagination is what they have, and they can constantly play with you, delivering whatever it is that they ultimately have with confidence, knowing that you'll still buy it.
The rebels are trying to secure doors.
Now, this directly relates to certain game companies like Bethesda, who I'm not going to say that everything that they make is particularly great, bad, or whatever it is that they've actually, I give them credit because they've tried so many different titles. So they've come up with some pretty large scale, quite universally sized games that makes me feel like that as a game brand, as a game developing company, they try and stay as true to their original image as I suppose modern times will allow. So I give them credit on that respect. That being said, they are now directly able and willing, probably able to lie to their customer base en masse, knowing that like you're just not going to get that imaginatory sensation anywhere else. Not in this saturated game environment. I mean, the Fallout and the Elder Scrolls universe belong to them, so there isn't really much competition. And I mean, you're basically stuck with what you got. There's a lot of other titles which you can enjoy right now that are of their make, and yet anything in the future to come, it only goes more down this path. And that's ultimately because we as gamers have given these marketers the authority and the ability to do this to us. If you truly appreciate a game title, you truly appreciate perhaps an image or an idea of what you think a game should be, there's probably nothing more powerful than to write out your opinion in a well-thoughtfully placed letter, honestly, and just post it on the forums. It can seem so mundane, but the traction that you could build from a good idea coming from perhaps a bad loss or a bad call, like a bad game publishing idea or development, something that just you feel like it totally missed the curve. And if you say, with maybe not exactly bitter ire, but rather like a tragic indifference to it, in a sense, oh, it's so much fun, but it could have been this, and you guys missed it, and we might just assume that a game company would never ever address it, or they might. What I'm saying is that a player's true and genuine reaction to even the bad stuff in games can ultimately fix and rearrange so many things in an indirect way. I've seen this happen, and gamers, quite frankly, I think they forget about how truly powerful they are, because they're a buying value. And these game companies, they want nothing more than to cater to you and keep you happy, even if it is at a steady pace. So the more that we understand these kinds of mechanics to real life when it comes to video games, the more I can see us getting out of game companies what we want, and them being satisfied too, in that they've made a smart and wise business decision with their gamer base. No company in the world wants to lose their customer base. Unfortunately, with game companies, it's as if they just don't care about their customer base, or rather that they would just make it appeal to as many younger players, or players who just, quite frankly, don't even read the chats. They don't go to the forums, right? Because that's real too. There's a lot of young kids and children that play games competitively, even like very well, that are massively multiplayer and all that stuff, and they probably could pay the most on microtransactions, being basically the top #1 customers in some environments. You know what I mean? It could be seen wise like a market decision to cater to these players. Where are you going? Where are you going? It's that the spiritual success of a game just it wanes if a company is willing to just cut off its arms to save its legs. I think that generally means that you already know what they're going to do in the future. So, you know, it is what it is. Marketers don't exactly have anything in their mind besides just selling a video game product, which can be awfully easy. So again, as a more mature gamer, just to summarize, very plainly, put your money where your hope is. Like, don't just fall for the wishy-washy beliefs of a new game that really captures your imagination. That's what it's designed to do, because the map might not always meet the territory, and it's up to you as a gamer, as a buyer of this game, to keep them honest, to keep them the spiritual success, like where you want this game, what this game is supposed to sell you, where this game is supposed to take you, and have you feel it's true enjoyment, right? Like, for example, Mountain Blade Bannerlord, which looks great, looks absolutely fantastic. And here's what my first impression of it is that after all this time, Mountain Blade hasn't really actually seemed to add much besides just perhaps a new graphic overhaul. And the mechanics of the game, I mean, I haven't actually bought it or played it. I'm waiting for a few more features to come out because it's still early access. It just seems like they literally just ported the old engine over, and that looks lazy to me. So I hope I'm not wrong, but I like to trust my first instincts with many games. And you have to see beyond the box, because with a video game, it is all about the box. I don't know if you guys exactly remember, but there was this place called Blockbuster back in the past, and it had like video games and stuff that you could rent, and there was such a wide selection of them that, you know, these boxes had to compete for your attention. And, you know, you get to the shelves and you see these new Sega Genesis games or Super Nintendo games and all that stuff, and you'd be like, oh, this one looks neat, this one looks neat, oh wow. It was all about, because I was with my brother, and it was like, what box looked the coolest to us, and then we mutually agreed on which one to get. And one of the coolest games that he ever grabbed that I thought looked bad from the box, and I was upset, was this game called Rygar for the Nintendo. And I was all sad and stuff. I was like, it's not bad, man. So we went home, and my brother started to play it, and he had such a dope run. He was like stage 6 by the time he finally went game over. The game was so incredible. It was one of the coolest side scrolls I ever played, like beyond Batman. Abilities, and had weapons, and had cool monsters and stuff. It was so neat. You never judge a book by its cover, right? Well, with many games, it's quite the reverse. Like, the box might not seem like much, and the game is like a stellar masterpiece, or even just like an occult classic. Sorry. Whereas other boxes, like mainstream title movies and stuff, like NBA Jam and everything. NBA Jam was a good game, but I mean more, I suppose, like movie port games and stuff like that. They can just have such terrible outcomes because it was all about just a cash grab. Getting you to buy a title without not even realizing that it was basically just Batman remade with new skins. So this was also a time when like the only game advertising that there was truly available was like magazines. Sure, there were some TV channels, but it was very rare in Canada. Sorry, Yoda, you're just too powerful. So yeah, I suppose that was a bit of a rant on my part. But yeah, you know, like as gamers, right now in this game, we all have a value that's greater than any marketer can convince you. Like, we're all enjoying this game on so many different levels in our own variety of ways, and just probably all powerhouses in our own right, that we all have like an actual say. We actually have something to input to perhaps a game developer if they would ask, hey, what do you think about Star Wars Battlefront 2? Like most people in this world could actually give them a solid assessment as to like what this game needs to improve, where you really found a lot of fun, where you can heighten the fun for future games. And you know, players just gotta remember that stuff more. Like in a lot of different ways. The gamers that enjoy these games are like they are the lifeblood of it. Don't ever let a game company just treat your dreams and your imagination like it's tertiary. Because after all, that's what sold the game. Okay? Like there are a lot of happy game companies out there that are willing to tease you and entice you and then actually produce good quality games which allow you to explore their realms, their ideas, their universes, because ultimately one game that's good leads to several games that's good. That's the idea. So it's all about the players. We've got to rise up and spend wisely. We've got to invest in games that are going to push towards the kinds of games that we want in the future that include probably cross-platform, multifaceted, like a Star Wars game maybe that was like Battlefront 2 within a Star Wars real-time strategy game where generals are like commanding Star Destroyers and stuff, and it's all like real and massively multiplayer. Maybe more instances, so you know we got to keep it somewhat realistic. But perhaps also like a game like Warframe with just a Star Wars port. How successful do you think that would be? I think that would be wildly successful. Oh boy, it's a Warframe. It's just, yeah, like, there's a lot of cool things that other games have tried that are wickedly successful. And no company should ever say, no, we're done with this game. It's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Because the players aren't done with that game. Battlefield 4 is not done. Sure, they might not be making anything for it, but that game's not done because there's still people playing that game right now. And I mean, somewhere down the line, someone's gonna hack that game or tweak it a little bit or do something, or perhaps even just kind of graphical glitch with a certain kind of component or hardware, and then EA is gonna have to make a kind of a hidden patch to make that game workable for that component or whatever that glitch was. These things happen all the time, so they got that technology. It's there. We just got to see past the walls that have been placed in front of us to recognize that as gamers, you know, you are effectively like you are more than the asset that they're just trying to sell to. You've got the technology to try their product in a variety of different ways that they might not have access to. So, I mean, sure, you can allow them to read your input, but I've got one better. Thoroughly write out the pros and cons of a lot of games on the particular hardware that you have as a gamer. Consider your thoughts, right? Write out constructive information, and then go to the Steam forum or the Origin forum and just put out a little post. Hey, I just did this. This is my hardware. Blah. This is how the game worked for me. First impression, just bam. Don't try and gild it up. Don't try and impress anybody or worry about hurt feelings all that much. Don't blame the publishers and the game developers, because that's not what the post should be about. Give it just the gildedness of like a saber. Just, hey guys, this happened. And then from there, a discussion will start, right? That is probably, as a gamer, the best thing that most people could do by creating a very eloquently constructed criticism in a non-biased way. Unfortunately, if it is biased, what's going to happen is it's going to get scooped up by a lot of parties who are, quite frankly, interested and invested in making your argument seem one-sided and biased, so that, you know, they could just say, hey, well, this guy's a part of that group, and that group smells like poo. So,
We've gained a foothold
I
on the
mean,
battle station.
don't worry if that does happen, because there's probably more at play than you realize when it comes to video game marketing.
May the force
Like, I don't want to say things like you know, Gamergate or things. These kinds of topics don't amuse me or entertain me at all. These are political tropes that in this timeline, unfortunately, people have to deal with if they want to try and learn anything about what's going on. That being said, these things are directly placed in the way to perhaps disguise what is apparently so obvious, that gamers have a lot more power, especially with the game companies and the way they decide how they enjoy games, what certainly is a more successful value than this one. all that stuff. You guys decide. And they know that, and they'd probably be willing to tell you anything at this point to convince you that their game, their title, is adequate. Completely fine. You don't need to worry about it because we're making a new one kind of stuff. You know, so it is what it is. It is what it is. It's a constant to and fro that as an older gamer, do you think that I can tell you after gaming for PC gaming for about 20 years that it's gotten easier? No, my friend. It's gotten probably about 10 times more overdrive. Sure, that I realized back even in the 90s, games like Quake and Halo were actually pushing engines of PCs and computer generation software to limits that made them wildly successful back then. Natural, right? Halo itself, the very first Halo, was a very different first-person shooter experience that came out first for the computer. And it was beautiful. For its time, even though it's quite dated now, right? Probably like Morrowind graphics almost. Nonetheless, back then, the feeling, I'm trying to convey the feeling of how that game looked on PC was so...
Vader has come.
Trying to really capture it. Like the first time I saw Halo was something kind of special actually. It looked like the way that the physics worked, the way that the shots looked, everything, like the place, it was such a cool, eye-catching, oh my god, wow experience that it was really just a first-person shooter. It really wasn't all that much, but it had so, like the appeal of it was so on the money. You know, you're driving the buggy and stuff, and the weapons. The aliens had cool weapons. They made cool noises. The way that they rolled around on the ground and stuff, like the way they used cover and things. It was so unique and fun. And it's just like, yeah, like the fun factor was just so lit for original Halo. I mean, now we're what, in Halo 6, Halo 7? I'm sure that somebody who loves Halo is going to get a fun factor out of that. But will it ever really be as fun as the first Halo was for some people? I don't think so.
Joined the battle. We're getting help from that smuggler, Solo. Vader is here.
Grenade out!
No, I'm not too sure how long this might take. Generally, yeah, there we go. Oh no! I missed. Ewok man. I guess there's only enough room for one hero. I know that some games you can have multiple heroes with other characters, right? But I don't know. It's always changing. Different game modes, I suppose, different maps.
We're securing point F.
The Imperials have us cornered. We must counterattack and reclaim those command posts.
Vader knew the power of the Ewok. Vader must do what he has to do. The Ewok is too powerful to let storm the bridges.
We're capturing Bash. Command post Bash has been secured.
Oh no, we're rocking a very electrical place, huh? It's hard to actually break away from Vader. He's quite fast. Never mind the size, of course. He's a bloody huge guy. Probably the tallest and biggest Jedi that you'll ever encounter. Besides Grievous. But Grievous is kind of... well, they both are a robot, I guess. And human, and living, I'd say. Grievous is actually a living creature, and so is Anakin. But they're both more machine than man, that's no doubt.
The Rebel Alliance falls!
We're taking point Dorn. New friendly on the ground. Command post Dorn has been secured.
We're getting Jedi support. Luke Skywalker is here.
If we don't push back now, we're done for.
We're taking Bash. Get out. We've taken control of command post Bash.
Look at the tickets again. 86 to 8%. I could tell you I have no absolute idea whatsoever how they have such a steaming lead over us. I guess maybe now that we've got... No, see, they took B. Yep, we're definitely going to lose now. Yeah. Oh well.
We're about to secure command post Bash.
has arrived to reinforce us.
You have your moments. Not many of them, but you do have them. Who is that? Imperial elite on the ground! Whatever happens, don't lose hope.
In my opinion, humble opinion of course, the Emperor is the best Jedi in the game. His lightning ability and effect is so panoramic, he can literally just kill everything around him even just by being there. And he's not all that tough, but if you get even close to him, he's more like a bomb. And that makes him like the worst Jedi, because you're not exactly shooting at him, he doesn't exactly shoot at you, and yet everything just dies from electricity as soon as he gets near. So he's like, yeah, easily hands down the best Jedi character. Sure, he'll get worked by any dude with a lightsaber. That's true. He'd even get killed by an assault trooper with a shotgun. I know that. That's not my point. Is that in the middle of the combat, he does the most damage. He is the craziest. And it's all because, like, you can have his chain lightning and his AoE effect stack, and, like, everything just gets milked away. Even the hero characters, they just don't stand a chance. And he's got this kind of dark bomb ability, too. Oh, he's the worst, man. It's a good thing that his HP isn't like Finn's, for example. Finn is awesome as a hero character. Lots of HP, and he's got those two AoE buffs. One I think gives better accuracy. The other one gives like better health regen. And you just go back to back with those. So he's like the ultimate tank. Yeah. Yeah. Hoth Outpost Delta. Here we go. This is Supremacy, right? I believe so. Okay. Sure. He thinks he's gonna win for free, huh? Like he's gonna get carried by his team. The chat box is something where everybody in the game can enter, and that's at the top right there. For anyone who isn't familiar with what that is, that's the chat box. With every video game ever on a PC, there's a way that you can communicate with each other. Everything from gripes of daily business to real actual gripes with how players play the game can all be easily shared that way. And it's fun to just keep tabs on them. That's mine. Alright, this thing's kind of neat. The fact that it even jumps is like this whole newfangled ability that most vehicles don't even get to attempt in this game. Wow. I don't know if you can actually jump on a trooper though. Oh no, the graphics are glitching out.
Standard tactics. Secure and hold those command posts against the Imperials.
It seemed a little bit wonky. Like it didn't. I tried to press F there for the grenade pack, didn't come out. Interesting. It's all right though. Being that it's the only map with the wampum or the wampa, I'll give it an exception. Notice the really slow rate of fire on this gun. So I mean, yeah, it's a one-hitter, all right, but it's also extremely vulnerable. When they want to blow it up, they can easily do it.
Palpatine has joined the
There we go.
Imperials. We must be cautious.
It's that dude again. Not so easy for Palpatine on this map, though. As you can see, there's a lot of wide open space room to get sniped in this Imperial Dome. The Senate will be all over the snow in minutes. Darth Vader would probably be a better choice. Oh, is that a sniper? Oh. Okay. Oh. And that's all it took. I knew even just by shooting you'd drag someone's attention, but I wouldn't expect laser lightning attention like that. Let's try the land speeder. Cockpit view. Whee! You can't roll though. There's no rolling. It's a land speeder. It's you can get really low to the ground, but besides that, it's just a jet. It's just a jet with extremely slow rate of fire. Ow.
Skywalker is here to aid us.
Probably my most favorite of all the maps so far in the Rebellion era.
Luke Skywalker has joined the battle.
thing flies like a bathtub. Smoked myself right into a cliff side. Let's try that again.
Hey there. Need a hand? This is back!
You're taking fire! Stay alert! Red leader, moving into position. I'm breaking out!
Ah! I like them.
I looked behind me. You weren't there. You came from above and behind.
We're here. Point us at the problem.
We've lost the pilot.
GG's. Probably like my favorite, obviously. It's got the most. The jets. It's got the land speeder, which is fun. Doesn't have a walker though, right? Like we're missing that. And the other game mode, I believe Galactic Conquest. Was it Galactic Conquest? There's pretty much only two. There's Supremacy, Galactic Conquest. There's maybe like a Domination mode or something. And it requires you to take out the two walkers, similar to the Clone War era level, where you have to blow up those shield generators. And yeah, you get access to those MTTs. No, not the MTTs, the other ones that the clones use, the big four-legged ones. Anyway, it can lead to a lot of hilarity. Big, large-scale battles. That map's really cool. It's like Geonosis. And, yeah, well, Hoth is the best with the AT-ATs. That's for sure. That's for certain. And it just feels like, if you're just slightly missing that, what are you going to do, though, right? You get all the jets and stuff. Without something gigantic like that to take all the attention for the jets, it makes it a lot harder for the troops. Well, that map filled up pretty quick.
A force of foolhardy rebels somehow made planetfall through our protective shield. They are to be wiped out. This research installation must be protected at all costs. Standard procedure. Standard procedure. Advance, capture, and hold all command posts. Attack.
All right, set.
Jordan is in our hands.
Soon command the entire sector.
Got a rebel commander making trouble.
Rebels are attacking doors.
Mercia has joined us.
Laying down covering fire.
Command post Dorn is lost.
Clear for grenade.
Luke Skywalker is here. Vader should be informed.
Now hold near.
Lord Vader is here. Redouble your efforts.
Well, I had to refill a coffee, and it turns out it was just a little bit too late, so I think I'll call it a stream on that one. We've been streaming for nearly 2.5 hours. Probably present something Battlefield-ish in the future here to come, probably within a half an hour. So I'm going to take a short break, And I hope that I'll be seeing some viewers later on, and hopefully more. But it'll probably be Battlefield 1 or possibly Battlefield 5 that I'll be streaming next after a quick supper. And I just want to say that I appreciate you stopping by. Take care.